Bakari. And these people are falling into the trap. That is a narrative that will really sell well on the mountain. I'm telling you, the mountain is led by fear of being led by people that don't know what things will be like because they're not in power. So if this narrative, it will be soothing the people of Mount Kenya now. Hii serikali hata Raila hayuko, ni sisi tutakuwa tukiendesha. Sasa hii hata any moment from now Peter Kenneth atachukua mada.
What does it do to the rest of Kenya if it's soothing?
That is, I'm telling you, there's something I didn't want to say, but now I'll tell him. What these people are doing and falling into the trap of Uhuru and Raila, first, like I've said before, is to endear Raila to the people of Mount Kenya. Because if that narrative is saying is on the ground, then it's sweet music to the people of Mount Kenya that this is going to be our government, because Raila is not anything. It's so beautifully made. The second thing, unknown to them, please go and pass it to William Ruto. You are essentially bringing the Luo and the Kikuyu together. And this is an unbeatable combination. So you are falling into that. You know, I'm a Kenyan. I wouldn't want a situation of hegemony because I've hated it when it's been Luos, when it's been Kikuyus alone and Kalenjin. I don't like it as a Kenyan because ultimately it's never sustainable for any country. But they are falling into the trap of bringing these two communities together. Undefeatable. And they will be around this country in power for a while.
Well, I think...
Bringing them together. This is what they are doing. They are bringing the Kikuyu and the Luo together.
I think...
And you know what? Let me just finish. And go and tell Ruto. Once Ruto is defeated, because he's going to be defeated, then you will see how Moi's lieutenants, Zakario Cheoyot, Salikos, Kinanani, they will be propped up with Gideon immediately after he loses. In 3 years after Ruto has lost this election, if you ask somebody who is William Ruto,
and how many you are saying Ruto will lose?
He will lose,
despite poll after poll showing as though he's ahead of Raila Odinga. These are independent pollsters who are doing
for 4
opinion
years.
polls.
Ruto for 4 years was running against himself. William was running against Ruto. Raila is barely into the race. And he has moved from the same polls who are giving him 15. Now they are putting him only 7 points behind Ruto, or 5. Wouldn't you be scared if you are Ruto, that you've been 80, 70? A guy who was at 15 now is behind you with 3 months to an election. He simply overtake you.
Well, first I'd like to first of all clear the air that people who are watching us, the mountain that Prof. Manyora is talking about here cannot be Mount Kenya. He must be describing Mount Kilimanjaro.
Or Mount Elgon.
Whatever other mountain that is describing. But what he's describing has nothing whatsoever to do with Mount Kenya. Because, you know, what has put Mount Kenya behind His Excellency William Ruto is really not the tribal factor. And I think that is where my good Prof keeps on missing the point. And that is where he talks about traps. And these traps may not actually even exist. Because what has put Mount Kenya behind His Excellency Deputy President William Ruto is actually the bottom-up economic model. It is...
primarily that?
That is it. It is guaranteed minimum returns that this bottom-up approach promises to the people of Mount Kenya. The fact that when people of Mount Kenya harvest their coffee, this coffee is going to be sold and they are going to be given the prices, the bare minimum prices that they can get, the guaranteed minimum return on their coffee, on their tea, on their rice, on their milk. That is primarily what is putting people of Mount Kenya, and that is what has put people of Mount Kenya behind William Ruto. And the fact that this model is a model that has been tried and tested and that is going to deliver the goods to an emerging economy like Kenya, that is basically what puts people of Mount Kenya behind William Ruto. The fact that he's picking up the issue of the economy from Moi Kibaki, where he left on matters economy, that indeed is what has excited our people. And for the first time, this time round, our people of Mount Kenya are not so much on the issue of tribal arithmetic. In any case, they do not even have any of their kingpins at the top. So what do they look at?
To be fair, Mwangi wa Iria is on the ballot, and he considers himself at least, and his political party as a kingpin of that region.
Well,
let me ask you this, Speaker, because of the interest of time.
Yeah.
You say Central Kenya is behind Deputy President primarily because of the economic blueprint.
Oh, yes.
Which is the bottom-up economic model.
It takes care of our people.
Fair enough. Many would argue he is the serving Deputy President, has been one for the last 9 years. What has he done for the economy of that region?
Well, he is serving Deputy President, but you also know that the first 5 years, he did so well. The second 5 years, it was handshake government, and he was out of it. And Kenyans are not fools, they know that. You know, someone yesterday asked, what would you do if, my friend Engineer Wahome asked, who is a senatorial candidate in Nyeri, he asked, what would you do if you carry the keys to the kitchen in the morning and go with the keys to the kitchen? Would you be asking your wife for food in the evening when you come back? And the answer is no. The Deputy President in these 5 years has actually been out of government. And in the first 5 years, we saw the kind of development that took place. That's when in Mukurweini, for example, we had Mukurweini Technical Institute, which started MTTI. That is when we had a lot of the projects that were started and completed. Now you know what is happening in the country at this particular time.